What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today you find myself and Jen as the lonely two here. Andrew and Yaku have gone away for the weekend, so they're leaving us to do all the work. Don't worry, we'll get them back. So Jen's actually just removed the wing from the car, the spoiler that you would have seen us working on last week. We've just taken it off the car again because now we're going to prep it. We've got to give it a bit of sanding, a bit of body filler in a couple spots to get it nice and smooth. Once we've done that, we're going to just lay down some paint to protect it from the UV. It will be getting repainted later on, but because we've got a lot of because we've got a lot of modifications to go, there's no point in getting individual parts painted piece by piece. We would rather get it all sorted in one go towards the end. So the car might look like a box of Smarties a little bit here and there throughout this video series, but don't worry, we will rectify it towards the end of the build. So I'm going to take the wing outside, put it on a table, get it sanded and ready for some body filler. So we are outside in the beautiful sunshine. I do apologize about the lighting. I've got a very fine sanding block here. This plastic itself is quite smooth already and I don't want to sand through it too much, so I'm not going too abrasive or too coarse. So starting off with a very nice smooth sanding block here. I've given it a bit of a test sand. It seems to be doing well. So I'm going to get this whole thing nice and sanded. We want a sort of matte rough finish like this. That gives a good surface for the paint to adhere to, but we need to get these sorts of things out there and there. Once we've sanded it, we'll hit low spots like that with body filler and a couple other little bits and pieces. So we're just going to try and get this nice and smooth so that when we do paint it, you don't see all those little imperfections coming through the paint. Alright guys, so as you can see down here, we've filled in a couple of the low spots just with a little bit of body filler. There are some other smaller little low spots, but for the most part I think we should be able to sort those out with either primer or some spot putty, but these were the more problematic areas. The rest of the wing seems to be okay. I'm not too worried about the back edge here because we've got some other plans for there as well. So I think we can let that harden, let it set nicely, give it a sand, and then we can see where we're at.
Welcome to my channel. So what I've done is I've taken the sun visors.
Correct.
The sun visors, and I have given them a bit of a wipe down with some isopropyl alcohol. And now I'm going to be taking the Rust-Oleum fabric and vinyl spray, the black one, and going to give them a spray down. It's a hot cross bun with marshmallows that have been roasted with chocolate sauce.
Okay, we can do that.
After this.
After this, correct.
Okay, Dad. If you don't do the, it's like nails. If you don't do the prep right, the paint's not gonna stick.
So guys, funny story behind that. Every time Jen does her own nails, I always say to her it's kind of like paint prep work. You know, you got to prep the surface, clean the surface, get it buffed. Then you do your primer, or in nails it's base coat. Then you do your color. In nails it's your color as well.
Yeah.
And then on paint you do a clear coat, and there it's called a top coat. So it's basically the same thing. And I just say to Jen, I was like, nah, I could do this. And then she asks me to do it, and I'm like, nah. Jokes, I do help her with the nails. Don't tell anyone. Shh. Alright everyone, it is a new day. We have left the sun visors and the wing to cure overnight. The sun visors themselves are looking pretty good. They do need one or two extra coats. They're a little bit on the stripy side, as you can probably see over there. The wing, however, I have got a little bit of a problem. It was one of two things. Either myself, maybe I didn't mix the hardener to filler ratio correctly, or we've had some pretty miserable weather. So either way, the body filler I put on yesterday hasn't all cured. The first little spot that I did cure, where I put too much hardener. So I'm under the impression that I think I put too little hardener in the second batch, so I'm gonna have to quickly take all of that off, remix some body filler and put a little bit more hardener, work pretty quickly and get that back on there so we can sand it and get it painted today. So this spot over here cured just fine. You can see that it is quite hard, but over here I'm still able to leave nail marks and everything, and this is 2 days later. So this all needs to come off. This isn't good, so we're going to get that off quickly. Still figuring out how I'm going to take it off. Probably just scrape it off, because with a quick nail test over here it does seem to scrape off pretty easily. So I'm going to get this off quickly, re-body fill it, and then hopefully we can get this all painted and buttoned up today. Yay! Oh, I'm getting dizzy. Came out pretty nicely though.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't think matte black's going to be the end color for it, but I think just for now, to protect it from the sun and so that we don't have like 4 or 5 different shades of grey plastic, I think this will do the trick. I did make a boo-boo of not plugging that hole up there, but I'll just put a bolt in there and it should pull that little bit of paint out. Okay, so the top of the wing I'm doing slightly differently. This is where I've done a lot of the spot putty and a little bit of body filler and that sort of thing and sanded it back down. So I'm going to actually hit this with a primer first, just so that I can see where all the remaining low and high spots are. Once I've done this, I might need to sand it a little bit more. Then hopefully after that I can add one more coat of primer and then hit the black on this. The rest of the pieces I've done just with straight black. So yeah, let's give it a clean first. Right guys, so when painting at home, I've always found it beneficial, especially if it's not the hottest day, and by the way, it's always best to paint on a warm day, but if you are painting like us on a day that's slightly cooler, it's always best to kind of warm up your can a little bit. I find what happens is the paint then adheres to your surface a lot quicker and a lot easier, and it's also a good idea to wear gloves. Don't be like me. So I was fully expecting to have to sand this back down, but I'm not sure if it's showing up on camera, but I can't see any high or low spots. There's a couple of little splotchy bits here, but that's actually from the primer. That's not really low or high. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this, and I think it is ready to get painted black. Right guys, sorry, it is a little bit dark in this corner, but as you can see behind me, we've got our spoiler blacked out. So it won't be staying this color forever. We just wanted to protect it from the elements a little bit. Generally speaking, plastic and the sun aren't the best of friends. It probably would have been okay, but we just thought rather than letting the plastic perish when it sits out in the sun, we would just get it that extra layer of protection. After all my spot filling, body filler, and all the elbow grease and sanding that went into it, it's looking nice and smooth now. So overall, we are pretty happy with it. So with that out the way, right now I'm gonna jump on and try and remove some of the carbon fiber imitation wrap that is on some of our trim. So this is what I'm talking about. It's this imitation carbon wrap. I'm not sure why this is on here, but it is around the entire vehicle. So I'm gonna get this off because I think it's gonna either have been an aesthetic choice by one of the previous owners, or option B, which I'm hoping is not the case. It was used to hide some nasty faded trim behind here, and I really sincerely hope that that is not the case. Oh shit.